All right, so here we are. You guys all set?
Yep, yep.
All right, so we're live. I'm here with Greg Todd and Justin Cox. My name's Tom Huffman. It's another episode of Fitness Talk. Um, Glad you guys are here. Really enjoyed talking with you guys. If anybody is watching, feel free to interact with us, ask some questions. I don't know if you're, Justin, you monitoring YouTube at all?
I can.
Okay. If you want, you shared that link, right?
Yep.
All right. So if anybody's on YouTube, they want to ask some questions, we'll be happy to answer. Tonight we're going to talk about mental strength and mindset, and the reason I kind of like this is because I mentioned it with you guys last week that I just think that there's so much information out there on the internet, and there's so much there's no shortage of fitness information, but we see people going through their exercise programs and not really having success. And I think a lot of that boils down to, number one, as we all know, they start working out for a week or 2 weeks and they expect things to happen right away, and they don't have the mindset that they need to keep going. It's going to take weeks and weeks and actually years. I mean, it's a never-ending fight. And so we need the mindset to stick with it. And second of all, I really don't think that a lot of people learn as they're growing up. If they weren't involved in high school or collegiate athletics, if they weren't in the military or whatever, they really haven't learned to push themselves as hard as they need to consistently to make exercise worthwhile and effective. So I know, Justin and I mentioned beforehand that he's not a big proponent of pushing yourself, and I think he said sometimes, but not on a regular basis. And we can get into how often you think that is. For me personally, I really push myself hard. Actually, in a workout, I try to push myself pretty hard, but I really go all out, maybe once every couple of weeks. But my ordinary workouts that I do on a daily basis are, they're pretty difficult also.
Yeah. Tom, I was actually just talking with my wife about the exact same thing today. A lot of times when I'm restarting, I've taken a break off, and I don't feel it. It's hard to get yourself going, and I always have to remind myself. And I was just reminding her today that a lot of times, a lot of people value, I believe, in just the idea of doing a volume of work, right? Whether you do that volume of work in 10 minutes or 40 minutes, I mean, if you've done 100 squats a day, you've done 100 squats. A lot of times it doesn't matter how fast you go. And I think that's really the P90X, the insanity, the CrossFit mindset where everything has to be as fast as possible has really kind of moved people away from that idea that you don't have to work out as hard as you can every single time for a workout to be effective. Just some days you just got to put in the work regardless of how long it takes, whether it's an hour or whether it's a half hour. It's kind of the starting point I find for a lot of people. I try to tell a lot of my clients when I was working with them.
Mm-hmm. And I think it was Greg that mentioned, people don't like being uncomfortable. That they start to, and obviously we have to separate exercise-induced pain, the pain we feel from the exercise, and injury pain. We have to be sensitive to and back off when we do feel that. But I think that when it starts to hurt, too often people stop. And again, because they've never really been pushed before, by a coach or by whoever. Especially if they're trying to do it on their own, if you're getting programs off the internet or DVD. And we always see it. You open a magazine, you see somebody working out with a smile on their face, not a drop of sweat on them, hair's fine, clothes are perfect, and it goes for both men and women. We see it both ways.
Oh, I totally agree with you. Having grew up in that sports background, being pushed and knowing what my body's capable of, I have a really good sense of, where's that line between comfortable versus, okay, this is too much. And like you said, not having that background, it would be hard, especially when you're first starting, to determine which is which. Is this just natural comfortableness, or is this actually pain that I'm getting into now? And I've seen a lot of different people. Some people, the moment they feel uncomfortable, they're done. They shut down completely. And on the other end of the spectrum, it's like they can't get enough of it. You know, they associate that uncomfortableness and that pain with effective workouts, and so they just keep pushing and pushing well beyond probably where they should have stopped.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
And I think, I think last week I kind of talked about my 200 burpee workout that I do every once in a while, and so what I do is, I've set a benchmark. Obviously, I can only push so hard, and then, I try to go beyond that and go beyond that. Whatever the workout is, I think that's one way of pushing yourself without. Okay, I know I did it at this point last time. I know I can, give it, one more degree and just beat that, even if it's by 1 second. But it continually puts that in my mind that I have to go beyond what I could do before. It doesn't have to be, if you run an 8-minute mile, you don't have to say, what, tomorrow I'm going to run a 7-minute mile. A 7:59 is better than 8 minutes last week. So it's not, complete all-out, chaos, but in degrees. And the stronger we get mentally, the stronger we get physically, the stronger we get mentally. And again, it's a process. It's not, 1 week into your workout program, you're not going all out and getting hurt or getting sick. It is a gradual process. But I think that we can all, no matter what our background is, no matter who we are, we can still increase our mental strength as we go.
I think it's a huge dichotomy there because everybody wants results, and everybody wants results fast, right? And then but then those same people that want results really fast are usually the ones that aren't used to like working out, right? So then they're not used to feeling like what it feels like to be uncomfortable, to be labored with breathing, to just not to feel great. So you mix the two, and it usually doesn't work. Okay. You see something on TV or on an infomercial, or you see one of you guys and you look great, and everybody says, "Oh yeah, I can do that in a couple weeks," or and it just doesn't work good. It really doesn't work at all. And so, I'll tell you this: with every client that I have them read a book while they are starting on their journey. I truly believe that personal development in some way has to be part of them starting their fitness and wellness journey. Mentally, if they're not there, it's not going to work. It's just not going to work. So everybody has to read something. It could be a very easy read. We can, positive affirmations, whatever. You have to have some type of belief system that many people don't have. You guys, you've been in team sports, Justin. I believe from what I've gathered. Tom, you've been in the military. Not everybody has the background of understanding what, discipline and, just understanding the grind of whatever you want, that it's going to be a process. A lot of people do not grasp that concept. And so it's just not a given. And so anyways, what I do is I start people off by reading some type of personal development book while they are starting the process, because I believe most people are just not there mentally when it comes to what it's going to take to actually transform themselves.
On a little side tangent here and kind of off the topic, but I think a big part of that is the fitness marketing in general. Because that's exactly what we're telling these people, that you can go from 0 to hero in 20 minutes a day, in 12 weeks, or you can do it in 6 weeks. I did a photo shoot one time when I had my studio, and I did the whole thing in 8 weeks, right? But again, I was already active, already into the lifestyle, and then it was just 8 more weeks from there, right? Taking someone off the street, saying, hey, in 8 weeks you're going to be photo ready. I couldn't imagine the process that you'd have to go through to do that, or how much you'd have to do that. But that is what we were telling these people, that you can do that in 12 weeks. You can completely go from couch potato to Mr. Fitness or Mrs. Fitness, have the 6-pack abs and look great in these little booty shorts in 12 weeks. And it's like that's not how that works. That's not how any of this works.
And maybe you guys can elaborate on this. I think we're getting, especially now, I think you're seeing more so, but you have two sides of it. You have this old easy workout, 90 days, get the abs you want, and whatever. But then on the other hand, you have the CrossFit, you have the P90X, the Insanity. So, and it kind of goes back to I think what Greg was saying before, is that one, you have these trainers who aren't really trainers. They're it's all about marketing. So they're getting this easy stuff out there because they know that it sells. But then you also have, like I said, the other side that it might not sell so much online, but you have these people joining the CrossFit gyms. You have the people doing the P90X because that's going after the hard work and the effort and the achievement, as opposed to slimmer thighs in 6 weeks.
I think there's kind of two parts to it. There's the marketing aspect of things, and then there's reality, right? Okay. So at the end of the day, and I deal with this because even and I'm going to say this as a physical therapist, and I don't know if I said this to you one time, Tom, offline, but my first 3 years as a physical therapist, we're supposed to put in 24 hours worth of continuing education every 2 years, right? And my first my first 3 years, I put in 286 hours.
Wow.
Okay? So I basically did because I wanted to eventually have my own thing. And what I've realized, which this is very sad, but when I opened up my own thing, nobody came. Even though I was 5 years into it, I was, I feel like, at least education-wise and my credentials were better than most. I didn't have the marketing to back up people coming to the office. So I understand, I get it. Take a couch potato, and if a couch potato is going to come off the couch and actually get up and start doing something, they want to know that something's going to happen. It's going to happen soon. They don't have the mindset that you have or that Justin has or I have. They want it now, right? So there's a marketing aspect of it, but then there's also the reality of it as well. I mean, and so it's always a balance act, and really what I've seen is that you have to do both. You have to be able to rope in people some way to whatever it is that they want. Now I don't believe in giving false wishes or grants for people, but what I believe is important is understanding what is it that person wants. And then once we figure out this is what they want, then us as fitness professionals, that we can then tell them, okay, in order to get this, this is what you're going to have to do. And that includes mindset. That includes changing your mindset because, yeah, I know this sounds great right now as we're talking about it, and I'm sure you can envision those abs, but it's not going to be fun day 4 and day 5 and day 6 when you're crushing it out and you see nothing visible. So it really is a combination. It's a slippery slope, and some people, all they want to do is just market it. They could care less if people get results. I know us, the guys on this talk right now, want people to get results, have a genuine, pure heart with regards to people getting it. But, unfortunately, we're going to deal with that, and that's just the way that it is. And but really, it's getting that person, and I'm sure many of you guys have had clients too. They start and they're gone within 2 weeks. And really, how do we lose them? It's mindset. Their mindset was never right from the get-go. It was never right. They were They were addicted to the results that they thought that they would have. And after, 2 days, 5 days, 2 weeks of pain, said, "The hell with this."
Well, I think that's why it's got to be a gradual process too, and we have to tell them, look, this isn't going to be comfortable, but after a while you're going to learn to not so much enjoy it, but you're going to be used to it. You're going to know what it's all about. And some people are going to back out because they'll never be that way. They never like that. But I think it goes back to what we talked about last week with the goals. You have to have that goal, and if you have that goal, here's what you have to do, and we're going to work into it, but it's going to be uncomfortable. And I know my wife, she started working out with me last year, and she goes, it doesn't get any easier. And I said, it's not supposed to get easier. It's supposed to get a little bit harder, actually. But, if it's uncomfortable for 20 minutes now, and 6 months from now, it's going to be uncomfortable, but you're going to be doing more than you did 6 months prior. That's the goal.
When I started my new website, coachcox.com, that was my big message that I was really trying to get across to people. My friend who does marketing, he hates me because I won't talk about all the hypey stuff, or I won't talk about all the the results, because I've been really trying, big focus, just like you guys are talking about there, moving people away from that. Hey, this is this sexy part of fitness, and no, we gotta get slightly past that and realize that we need to look at this process, and this is going to be a long-term process, and get people dialed in on that process so that we look forward to doing our daily little steps. I think, was it from Sam Bakhtiar? I follow him. I don't know if you guys know him, from California, but he had a saying one time I loved. It was, inch by inch, it's a cinch. Right? If we just focus on those little daily steps, inch by inch, it's going to be a cinch. But that becoming the process, and looking at that long term, that mindset of say, hey, it's going to be a while. I'm sorry the marketing lied to you. I'm sorry that all the commercials said, in 20 minutes on the Bowflex 3 times a week, and in 2.5 weeks, you're going to lose 50 pounds. I'm sorry they lied to you, but this is the reality.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. Inch by inch is going to be a cinch. And I think, Greg, too, going back to, without getting into this whole marketing thing, but, you said that it doesn't include marketing, and it absolutely does. But I think, because, you're a conscientious trainer, you're a conscientious physical therapist, these people who are just out there for the quick buck, they're going to have a shallow career, whereas you're doing the education, you care, you want to get these people working. It may take you a little bit longer to get this going, which obviously you've done it by now, but you're going to have a deeper base, which is going to last a lot longer. So you're always going to have to continually market, but it's not going to be trying to continually market to new people, and it's kind of like running on a treadmill. I think because
it is a combination. And you guys know this. You could have done the greatest job with clients and given them everything that you've had, but if they don't have the right mindset, I don't care how great of a trainer you are, then they're not going to get results anyway, right? So yes, I think of the people that have the right mindset, they have become lifetime clients of mine, and I'm sure you guys would agree with that as well. If you can keep them in the right, mindset. Those that are not of the right mindset, I don't care if they see me, if they see Jillian Michaels, if they see you, I don't care who they see. They're going to be done because unless we're doing it for them, they're going to be done. So this mindset talk is so key. I think at least one of the things that I have a hard time with is making people understand that this mindset, working on building up your mental strength is not a sign of weakness. That it is it really goes hand in hand with fitness and wellness. A lot of times people think if they're working on their personal development, like something's wrong with me. Do I need self-help, type of thing. And that is so not the case. It really isn't. It really should be required if you ever enter a studio with somebody. have to have spent at least, an hour or so, you know, with something that's really strengthening the most important muscle in your body, which is what's going on between here.
Absolutely, and that's definitely the most important part, because without your mind pushing you, your body's not going to do it. I always say your body's a liar. Your body's telling your mind, I'm tired, I don't want to do it, I'm sore, and it's really your mind that has to say, you know what, here's what you're going to do. The mind controls the body.
Mm-hmm.
So, Greg, I know you like to have your clients read books, right? And you said any self-development book, right?
No, not any. I mean, it really, like when I have them fill out their intake, and usually I do some type of consultation on them, after they filled out their intake, whether it's an online consultation or an in-office, consult. That's when you really get to know a little bit more about the person, and then from there, I kind of have, probably a library of about 10 books that I recommend fairly often. If you guys want, I can give you like a few of them. One is called The Power of Habit from Charles Duhigg, and really it actually was the book that got me back on track 2 years ago as well. After I was sick. So it really just understanding that we are just a sum of our habits, and we all got about 300 of them that we do on a regular basis, and the great people just have a different 300 than the others. And really, it's not even like you have to change all 300. You change 2 or 3, and it completely, radically changes your life. So,
who's the author of that one?
Charles Duhigg, D-U-H-I-G-G, The Power of Habit. My brother, who I think I told you guys was actually one of my clients. My brother has done very well for himself in business, in real estate, and has had a pretty successful graphics company. And he actually just released a book himself called Repeat After Me, and it's a really short read. And I'm actually going to start my staff to read it. It's just basically positive affirmations for 30 days. That's really it. And really, it's just, there's so much good stuff out there. There really is. Just a lot of solid stuff, but you just got to figure out what they need. Like, for me, I don't have a problem with discipline. I don't think any of you guys have a problem with, discipline. But for me, it might be something else, so you got to hone in on that. But for new clients, I really feel like habit and discipline are the things they have to get a grasp on. And if they don't, it's gonna be really rocky in the beginning.
How about you, Tom? How do you get your clients in the right mindset for their journey?
Again, to me, it's and I'm with Greg too. It doesn't matter if you come to me or if you go to somebody else. What I want to instill is the fact that you need to move, you need to exercise, and you need to keep going, because if you don't, the older we get, we're going to go downhill. And I guess I just try to lead by example. I'll do some exercises with them, I'll do some workouts with them, and I push myself. And I think I told you guys before, I don't yell at them to do more, but I set the example. And what I tell them, I want them to work enough so that when they leave, they don't get out in the car and regret that they didn't work hard enough. That they okay, it's over now. Because we think, say we're going to do a half-hour workout, we think at the beginning, oh my God, it's 30 minutes, this is going to hurt. But then that 30 minutes has come and gone, and if you've dogged it for 30 minutes, you're like, I can't believe it. I could have done, I just wasted 30 minutes, and you get disappointed. So I try to instill in them, look, when you leave here, think about whether you are satisfied with your performance or you're dissatisfied. Because I'm not always going to be here. I know we talked about internal versus external before. For me, it's all internal, and that's what I try to instill in them also. How about you?
Whenever I start with my new clients or I start a new coaching group, the first lesson I always teach is called the there's my mindset lesson, and in it I tell a story about two people who have one has what I call a failure mindset, and the other person who has the success-oriented mindset. So the story of Jack and Jill, right? Jack has that failure-oriented mindset where he believes that when he does good things, right, that's normal because that's what he's supposed to do, right? If I'm trying to lose weight, I'm supposed to eat healthy anyways. So if he eats healthy, whatever, that's what I'm supposed to do. That's average, right? But every time he screws up, that's a big failure, and he keeps telling himself that day after day. He's like, oh, I screwed up here, I screwed up there. He keeps telling himself that he's failing. Versus Jill, who has the positive mindset or the success mindset, right? Who realizes that she's already been screwing things up, right? And every time that she does something new, every time you have a good meal, when you've been eating pizza 5 nights a week and you decide to have, a good meal for once, that's a success. Yes, that's what everyone else is supposed to be doing, but for you, that was a success. And I really contrast those two different mindsets because I found for a lot of my clients, especially when I was in the studio and now online, they come in with that failure mindset. And I don't know if it's something that's been beat into us as children, or it's something we've learned as adults, or because we've just failed so many times at doing these on our own before. But a lot of people just think that every time they screw up, they've blown the program, that they lost it, now they have to restart, or it's another 6 weeks before they even think they can come into the gym again. When in reality, that's what you guys were doing already. Screwing up was par for the course. The fact that you came in and worked out today was a success. The fact that you had a good meal today was a success. And that you need to start building those successes. That's where I try to get that mind shift change for my clients. Right off the bat saying, hey, this is how you've been thinking, but this is how you should be looking at the situation. So you're going to build up these successes rather than beating yourself up for when you screw up. Because, well, you already have been screwing up. That's par for the course.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
And I like too, and I always say, don't compete with anybody else. Don't compare yourself with anybody else. Obviously competition is good. Say if the three of us went out and we were going to put a workout in, we would have fun, competing to see who's, who can do this better or whatnot. But when it comes to a day-to-day workout, when it comes to reaching your goals, we're not competing with anybody else. We're competing with ourselves. Because
exactly.
We can't compare ourselves to anybody else. And if you look at, you walk into a gym, and there's been a guy that's in there for 3 or 4 years, and he's doing great, and you can't do half of what he's doing, you're trying to constantly compete with him, it's not going to work, and you're going to eventually, be disgusted and walk away. Never mind those other people. Use them as an example, but you're only competing with yourself every time you walk into the gym, or every time you walk into a workout, that you're competing with your yesterday or your last week or your 6 months ago.
And getting people to understand that, shifting that mindset from, yes, the person across the room from you is doing great, but you're not there yet. That's not what you need to be competing against, or not what you need to be comparing yourself to. Right? That mindset shift of internal focus versus focusing on the rest of the room and what everyone else is doing. That's a huge one too. That one I see a lot of.
And I want to go back real quick with a book. I'm reading it right now. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. It's called Resilience. It's written by a former Navy SEAL. It's actually the second or third book of his I've written. But he's a former Rhodes Scholar, and then he was working with refugees and all around the world, and he was going to these refugee camps, and somebody said to him one time, we're glad you're here, but somebody needs to help us. And he kind of thought, well, heck, if that somebody is me. So he actually, turned down a job on Wall Street, joined the Navy, became a Navy SEAL, and very good reads. His first book is called The Heart and the Fist, but his current book is called Resilience. And it's all about these letters that he's written to an old buddy of his who was a former Navy SEAL who was going through PTSD, becoming an alcoholic. His brother was killed, just going through a lot of problems. And it's all about, this guy's, and Greg, you're talking about habits. He talks about, building our habits and our different philosophies and what we do. And It's an excellent book if you get a chance to pick it up.
What's the name of the author?
Eric Greitens.
Eric.
I believe it's Greitens. I can go grab it if you want me to. I have it in the other room.
Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yep. Like I said, I picked it up from the library, but I got about 15 pages into it and said, I'm buying this book. It's one of those books I'm always going to have on hand, and probably even give to somebody at some point. When somebody's going through some trouble, pick it up and give it as a gift. It's that good.
That's awesome. Awesome. I'm always looking for new reads for people. There was another one called The Happiness Advantage. Gosh, I can't remember the author's name off the top of my head. I actually might have it on my tablet here. But The Happiness Advantage, and that was another really awesome read on how, like, it's amazing how we can see that. The whole book is based off of, like when you buy a new car. Let's just say you get yourself a Honda or you get yourself an F-150 or something like that, and then all of a sudden you see all these F-150s on the road, right? Or whatever. So basically, it's whatever your mindset is. If it's a mindset of optimism, it's a mindset of discipline, or what. That's all you're gonna find. You're gonna find that, and we filter out things all the time. If your mindset is, I've failed over and over again with whatever, maybe it's not even fitness, just other parts of life, then that's every single thing that happens. You're looking at, oh, yep, there you go, another failure in the books, So really, it is basically retraining your mindset, retraining your subconscious on how to start to filter out things that are not as conducive for us and to focus on, the positives.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I'll say is this. Justin kind of talked about this a little bit, but it's a tricky thing though, because we can't say yes to everything. Like, we have to say no to a lot of things. Like, part of getting to your health and fitness goals is saying no a lot as well. So it's saying no to the potato chips. It's saying no to the late night dates with the ice cream. It's saying no to always having the six-pack out. I mean, if you want the six-pack, you can't have the six-pack. So it's saying no to a lot of things, and it really is reconditioning your mind on, this is what's important. These are the things we need to say yes to. These are the things we need to say no to. It's a total transformation of your mind to get the results that you want physically.
Greg, I want to touch on something you just said there just a bit ago about, that filter, how you filter things out and you start seeing those F-150s all over the place, right? In my mindset lesson, I talk about a stat I found. I wish I could remember where I found it, but they found through some advertising research that if a person sees the exact same message between 11 and 20 times, they memorize the message.
Wow.
Right? So when you're walking down the store, all of a sudden you think about that ad when you walk through the bleach aisle, right? You think about the Clorox bleach ad because you've seen it over and over and over again, right? And that's what I say, 11 to 20 repetitions of a message. And then think about that, how many times you've told yourself, I failed at this, or in general. You really have, 40 to 50,000 thoughts per day,
right?
Most of which are about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about how powerful that is, and that's it, 11 to 20 times repeating a message on TV, right? Not to mention the internal message you keep telling yourself. It's powerful stuff.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And I think too, when going back to the F-150s, put that into our own lives. If we realize that, and I mean, this is no secret, we have to surround ourselves with people who are successful to be successful. So, taking the example of the F-150s, if we start seeing, we're hanging out with these 5 people, and each one of these 5 people are successful and, they go to the gym or they're good at pushing aside the candy, whatever, we're going to start seeing that. And again, like you said, 11 to 20 times, it's going to reinforce that message. every day, all day long. You know, it's hard to hang around with people who, you know, I'm gonna go to the gym, well, I'm gonna go to the bar and grab a beer, and you know, eventually, you know, the beer sounds better, and I'm gonna go to the bar and hang out with that guy. You know.
And when you were talking about willpower, though, Greg, you know, a lot of times we talk about it like a muscle. You know, it has a finite amount of energy, and you have to train it kind of like a muscle.
Right.
Right. And then, you know, you only have so much decision power decision making ability during the day, and you just get to a point where you get the oh screw it. I mean, we all do it. You know, some people get there a lot sooner than others.
Right.
Right. And it's, you know, it's to find that balancing act, because saying no to potato chips, that's a decision that takes decision making energy. So, you know, you only have so much decision making power to begin with. You know, sometimes getting the kids out of the house in the morning to get them to school, I've expended my entire decision-making ability for the day. all my willpower.
Man, really, it's almost like you hit the nail on the head with that. Wow.
So a lot of times we talk about, you know, having willpower at night has a lot to do with how you set yourself up throughout the day.
Right.
You know, instead of reacting when you're in that moment, you know, do I have the power now to say no to that ice cream, no to that potato chip? You know, preparation ahead of time to put yourself in a better place is going to be a lot more effective when trying to build on that mental willpower.
Okay,
you know,
so
that mental strength.
Because that makes total sense to me. But based off of that principle, then I want to pose this question to you: if we all have a certain, I guess, tank, let's just call it, you know, right, of willpower is what you're saying. You know, we have a certain tank. Do you think that for somebody, a client that has not started, or that they're just starting their journey, if they said, hey, Dustin, when do you think it'd be better for me to set up my workout schedule? Based off of what you just said, which I'm in 100% agreement with, don't you think it probably makes more sense for people to do something, a habit that they have not done before that they want to start, i.e. working out? Don't you think that it makes more sense for them to do it in the morning when that tank is still you know, full? You know,
I totally agree with you on that, Greg.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think it just makes sense, right? It's like, okay, because a lot of times we were like, oh, well, that just works for you. You know, I'm like, no, it's actually, you know, I never explained it in the way that you explained it, but I've always felt like we just have a certain amount. You know, we have a certain tank full of willpower. Some of us have a bigger tank than others. Some of us have a Toyota Corolla tank, and some of us have a massive Yukon SUV tank, right? Okay, but either way, at some point we're gonna run out. Okay, everybody's gonna run out at some point. But for those of us that have the little puny, you know, Corolla one, you know, we better work out in the morning before that sucker, you know, empties out, right? Or okay, all right.
Well, I'm with you, Greg. I've tried several times, you know, with different jobs and stuff to work out after work. It has rarely ever worked out for me. I hit the end of the day, I'm like, yep, I'm just gonna go. I'm done for the day. Yeah. I always had to be a morning person. My tank runs out before 5 or 6 o'clock at night.
Right. Okay. All right.
And I found too that number one, you have all these decisions all day, and you're like, you know, really, I still got to work out at the end of the day. But then you also have, you know, your wife or your kids. Well, just missed today. You know, can you do this? We need to do this. And so you lose out. So because you've kind of had these feelings all day, I really don't work out. The minute somebody suggests something else, you don't have that willpower. So, but I also think it's something that we can build up over time. So, you know, the more we do it. We're talking about the morning. You know, I get up at 3 a.m. every morning, and I found that as soon as that alarm goes off, I put my foot on the ground, because if I give myself that 1 second to think about it, then you start going back and forth. I hate when people use the snooze buttons, because you're fighting with yourself. I know I should get up, but I want to lay here. You know, I can be just as tired standing up next to the bed as I am laying in bed. But as soon as the alarm goes off, I'm out of bed. That way the decision's done. There's no decision to it, because I'm up and I'm not going back to bed.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I need to start working on that too, because I hit the snooze button for about 15 minutes every day, and my wife absolutely hates it.
It's a battle. It's an internal battle.
It is. It is a battle. And sometimes I get the knee or the elbow. She says, "Just get out of bed."
Well, that's an external battle. But when you start, in your head, let me just lay here 5 minutes. Oh, I should get up. Then it's going to be a losing battle eventually.
One of the things that we had said last week, I kind of hit on it with regards to what exercise does for me now, is that it basically sets the tone for my day. My typical morning is waking up anywhere between 5 and 5:30, doing my affirmations, in personal development. I'm a spiritual guy. Reading my Bible. Whatever. Basically, spending time building up myself mentally before I even enter the workout cave, right? And then after that, I work out. So I might be working out 6 to 6:45 or 7 or whatever, and then I go to the office. And it is amazing, like, once I've invested in myself, how much more I have to give people. And that is one of the things that I try to, it's really, as I said, it really is a hard thing to explain to somebody that's just starting out. They're like, yeah, I don't want to hear it. Yeah, that sounds really nice, Greg, and that's wonderful, but I don't really want to hear that crap right now. You know what I mean? Look, I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Okay, all right, okay, whatever.
So, I'm just going to say, trust me on this.
Yeah, trust me. But that really is, that's the goal, man. The goal for everybody is to understand that once you invest in yourself, once you've given yourself this, yes, we've talked about mindset tonight. Obviously, you're talking about mindset on how it relates to getting people to achieve their goals. But once they're investing themselves mentally, spiritually, physically, gosh, they just become version 2.0 of themselves. They just become a better version. And it really is a powerful thing. It really is. If you can get people to just buy into that, that it's so much more than lose weight in 10 days, or whatever. I mean, it's so much more than that. And I understand that what drives you today might not drive you tomorrow, and that's okay. But man, it really is an awesome thing. It's a powerful thing. So, anyways,
success breeds success.
Yeah.
Along
the
same lines, Greg.
I actually just text them and said, give me 5 more minutes. I'm in a really good talk right now.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
I told them, give me 5 more minutes. Yeah.
Along those same lines, Greg, I've been workout every morning.
Right.
And I've only done it for about the past 3 days or so. So getting up at whether it's 5 or 7 a.m., but right before I get in the shower before the morning, before I go to work, just a quick 10-minute body weight / warm up / flow, right? And it sucks. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. The first couple movements, my dog thinks it's playtime, so she's jumping on me. My body's all stiff, right? It doesn't want to move, but by about 3 minutes into it, I'm starting to loosen up. By about 5 minutes, I'm feeling okay. By the time I hit that 10 minutes, I'm full of energy. That movement, energy for more movement. And like you said, by the time I get to work, this last few days when I've been trying this out, I don't have that sluggish first hour. I don't have that get going today. I've been hitting it just boom, running all 8 cylinders, and I actually feel amazing. And it's nothing special. It's a little bit of yoga in the morning, just moving the body, getting it going.
Yeah. Makes a huge
starting
difference.
that new habit.
Yep, that makes a huge difference.
Warren Buffett said this: for every $1 that you invest in yourself, the return is 30. And I know this is not a money talk, but the best investment that any person can make, and I actually tell that to a lot of people, the best investment that you can make is not in real estate, it's not in your business, it's in yourself. Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself mentally, spiritually, physically. Become a better version of yourself. And that includes changing your mindset. So.
Yeah.
1 to 30, I wish my IRA would do that.
Exactly. There you go.
You have to hold out hope.
Invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. Guys,
All right,
thank you so much. Thank you so much. This is great. I'm getting all this free consultation from other solid traders.
And so are we. No.
Literally.
No. You gonna be with us next week, Greg?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah.
All
So
right.
just hit me up. Let me know what the talk is going to be on next week, and then
Okay.
I'll start to think about it before I get on. So.
All right, we'll do it. If you have one you want to suggest, feel free to just message us.
Okay, perfect. Thanks,
All
guys.
right, Greg. Have a good week.
Hey,
Have a good
have
night.
a good one, Greg.
Yep. Bye.
Bye. So,
Hey, Tom, before we let everybody go here, I know
Yep.
I've got appointments. I know you got a busy life going on there. But before we go real quick, just wrap up. What's the one big takeaway you want to give out today for developing that mindset? But someone who kind of half paid attention to everything we talked about today, what's that one thing we should take away from it tonight?
actually, I have a quote that I love. I can't even remember who it was. I picked it up not too long ago. I love the quote. I have it written down. It's not how you do what you do that matters. I'm sorry, how you do what you do matters more than what you actually do. So how you perform an exercise, the intensity you put into it, matters more than the actual exercise. If it's a subpar exercise, but you put a lot of effort into it, you're going to get more out of it than an outstanding exercise. So that's one thing. The other thing is you don't have to be born with the mental strength either to get things done or to put yourself through the discomfort or I say the pain of a good workout. It's something that no matter where you're starting at, you can build it up with a couple of different exercises. And one that, without going into a whole bunch of them, and maybe we can touch on this another time, but if you ever do you ever take cold showers or do like a cold shower at the end of your shower?
I try that sometimes. It lasts about 7 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot I didn't put myself up here, but try this, and anybody can try this. And it actually takes care of both parts. It takes care of, not wanting to do something, but forcing yourself to do it, and then putting up with the discomfort for as long as you can. So before I get out of the shower, I'll turn it cold, and I know where the lever goes every time. So it's pretty much the same. But you know what? After a nice warm shower, I don't want to do it. I tell myself that it's good for me, but I say, just this one day, I can scoot out of a warm shower. So really, you're building up that mental discipline, that mental strength and mindset to go ahead and turn that lever to cold. And then, there's different songs that I'll go through in my head, so I know how long I stay in there. I'll turn around, front to back, and I try to stay in there as long as possible, or at least until I'm comfortable. Because after a while, it's just like jumping into a cold pool. Your body adapts to it. So that, to me, that one small exercise you do in the daytime, it helps you make a hard decision, and number two, it helps you get through the initial discomfort and do what is going to make you stronger.
Yeah, that's right nail on the head there, Tom. That mental strength is something that nobody's born with. Nobody has mental strength. It's a learned trait. It's something that you can always be developing. And I've seen 12, 15-year-old kids with more mental strength than I have. Right? And I've seen 80-year-old people with more mental strength than I have. And I've seen, a lot of people with a lot less. But it's something we can develop, over time. And the best thing is you don't have to develop it all at once. Right? A lot of people think that way. It's all or nothing. It's little stuff, little inconveniences that you just learn to put up with over time. Eventually, you have a lot of mental strength. And you don't even notice it at first. But it's something we do over time. And it's something you got to do over time to develop that strength.
Right. Completely agree. And like you said, it doesn't even have to be a ton. I go back to, say, try a plank. Time yourself, do a plank for as long as you can take it, and record that time. Next time, you don't have to beat that time by a minute. Beat it by a second. That's it. Because next time, you're going to beat it by another second. And, we talked earlier, this is a game of time. It's not 6 weeks. It's not 6 months. You look back over 6 years, and you started out with a 30-second plank, and now you're doing a 5-minute plank. Second by second, that's it. That's all it takes.
Perfect. I think that's a great spot to wrap it up tonight, Tom. That's right on the head. it's not a 6-month journey. It's a 6-year journey. It's a 10-year journey. It's a lifetime. It's something we got to settle on for the long haul.
Absolutely.
I like it.
So, perfect. So
All right.
next week, next Tuesday at 7 o'clock, 7
Sounds like a
p.m.
plan to me.
Eastern time. So, all right. And, topic to be decided. We'll.
All right.
If you have a second after, we'll stop the broadcast and we'll, maybe come up with something or just plan on taking it later.
Will do, buddy.
All right.
You
Have a
guys have
good
a great
one.
week.
You too. Bye.